Lions fan. Yo, D, I hate to say this. I really hate to say this, but I do not think that you're going to enjoy this show today. Then again, I don't think you're going to enjoy much of anything today, right? You're not going to enjoy anything for a long, long time. Am I right? You may never enjoy anything ever again. Am I right about that? And if not, I can't blame you. Because even for the Lions, that was a shockingly Lions way for the best Lions season ever to go right up in flames. Just when you thought life could not be any more cruel for Lions fan, the Lions find the most excruciating possible way to blow arguably the biggest game on the biggest stage in the history of that franchise. I'm still having a hard time believing it, and I saw the whole thing play out. A 17-point halftime lead. They seriously went into the Bay as major dogs took a 17-point lead into halftime of the NFC Championship. Then they seriously wound up losing that same game. A game that, according to ESPN, Detroit had a 91.5% win probability rate midway through the third quarter, and yet somehow still lost. 27 straight points for the other team will tend to do that. And maybe the very worst part for this, for the Lions, was that collapse was hugely self-inflicted. Now, let's be straight about this. Taking nothing away from the Niners, so be sure you chill out, Frisco fan. That's what you're supposedly so good at, right? Everything went your way, so just relax. Pass the Dutchie on the left-hand side. Pass the Dutchie on the left-hand side and chill. I don't want to hear from you today, all butthurt and bent, that your Niners aren't getting enough credit because everybody is too busy piling on the Lions. You'll get your credit, believe me. But there's a very good reason why everybody is going to spend today talking about the Lions. And that's because they had it. It was right there. The Detroit Lions were about to finally punch a Super Bowl ticket. They were about to get over the biggest hump in franchise history, only for them to take the biggest dump in their pants in franchise history. I mean, I hate to do it to you, Lion fans, but you know it's true. And you guys thought that you were the experts in pain and suffering and agony. Little did you experts know that you had not seen anything yet. I mean, yes, it's true. Big picture, Detroit just had one of its best seasons ever. Except I don't think Lions fan wants to hear that right about now. It's really tough to appreciate that over the feeling of complete heartbreak and devastation.
That's devastating.
And here's something else that's devastating and heartbreaking to face up to. Dan Campbell really messed that game up. The guy's been amazing at his job. He's been the driving force of a total identity shift for that franchise. He has been massive in getting them this far. And he's also a massive reason why they're not going any further. Not the only reason. I'm not saying that. Not the only reason, but a massive reason. Like, it's one thing to be aggressive. It's another thing to be reckless and borderline crazy.
Borderline erotic.
And it was reckless and borderline crazy to leave 6 points out there in the second half, especially since those 6 points would have, in the end, been enough to win that game. Detroit had the chance to make it a 3-score game, and instead they turned it over on downs. Then they had a chance to tie that game, and they once again turned it over on downs. And it's pretty impossible to deny that those decisions didn't play an enormous part in this game flipping. And it's not just analytics either. It was biting kneecap-alytics. It was just Dan Campbell being Dan Campbell. It was just Dan Gamble being Dan Gamble. It was just the guy being aggressive and believing in his guys, as he explained afterwards, while basically on the verge of tears. Yeah, no, it did not work out. Hey, listen, Dan Campbell or Dan Cannibal is going to Dan Cannibal, and I respect that. The guy is who he is. He was not going to change for that game yesterday, but who he is did not help yesterday. Who he is got them to that point, but who he is also got them beat yesterday. Both things can be true, and both things are true. The 2 fourth down decisions, and especially the first one, did completely change that game. I'm not saying everything flipped exclusively because of those decisions, but everything did change after that first 4th down miss, and it only got worse after that. It's not really the power of hindsight when you take crazy risks and they don't work out. That's just taking crazy risks and having them not work out. He could have taken 3 and pushed the lead to 3 scores, and nobody would have called that decision crazy if they wound up missing the field goal. You know why? Because that decision would not have been crazy. That's not hindsight. That's just common sense. But I want to be clear about something else, too. It's not all on Dan Campbell. It wasn't just a few coaching decisions that decided that game. Dan Campbell did not drop 2 critical passes. Dan Campbell did not fumble the ball on the first play of a drive. Dan Campbell did not take a potential interception off his face and then have that turn into a 50-yard play. That Ayuk play off the face was the real moment when it became clear to everybody that that game was going to slip away, that it was going to get away from Detroit. And I guess Frisco fan has a ladybug, of all things, to thank for that. He's right. It was crazy. It was a great win and a catastrophic loss. And yes, it can be both those things too. It definitely was crazy. Crazy is definitely what I would call giving a ladybug credit for that insane play. A historic play. A play that will be shown for years. But I can't deny that it seemed like the Niners had some luck on their side yesterday, and they also had Brock Purdy. And man, is Big Clock Brock owed some bleeping credit right about now.
For real.
And some bleeping apologies. People love to hate on this dude, and meanwhile, this dude just keeps doing one thing, and one thing only. Win. This dude is a winning machine, and for a pretty obvious reason. He makes winning plays. The object of the game is to win. So what even is the debate right now? I am kind of lost. I mean, you want to argue about his physical talent, his physical prowess, or the fact that he's a game manager? Fine, go ahead. Go ahead, do you. But you're wasting your time with that. Most non-talented game managers that I know do not break NFC title games open with their legs like Brock did yesterday. Who saw 48 rushing yards from Big Clock Brock coming? Who saw Brock average more yards per carry than Lamar Jackson yesterday? And while I'm not going to say that Brock looks like Lamar while he's running, I will say that Brock's running was effective. And like everything else with that dude, that's all that matters in the end. It does not matter what it looks like, only that you get it done. Even George Kittle was right to say that his running is more like, quote, scampering. You should be, big dude. But like everything else with Brock, it doesn't matter how it looks, only that he gets it done. I mean, call it whatever the hell you want. It's effective. The same thing goes for that dude's entire game. Say what you want, but it works. Talk about where he was drafted. It works. He wins. You can run your mouth all you want, but all Brock ever has to do is point and say scoreboard. People love to hate. Hate is the new dopamine. But in the end, Purdy is the quarterback who walked away from that game with a dub. And the Lions are the team that walked away knowing that they blew the opportunity of a lifetime. Seriously, Lions fan has been waiting a lifetime for that game. And the most painful part of blowing that game might be that there is no guarantee that they will ever get back there. Honestly, they really might have been. That might have been your one and only shot, Detroit. All right, I'm not looking to pile on. I'm not looking to be some hot take artist. That might have been your one and only shot. Even your coach admitted as much afterwards. He's exactly right, except for that part where getting your heart ripped out is a lesson learned. Because you really don't learn from getting your heart ripped out of your chest, right? You just die. You can't live without a heart. There is no coming back from getting your heart ripped out of your chest. There's just bleeding out. And Lions fan, I bet that's how that feels right about now. You're just lying there in a pool of your own blood with a hole where your heart used to be. And the pain is only getting worse and worse. I wish I could tell you that it will definitely get better. And you'll definitely be back. And next time you'll definitely win. But that would be a lie. And I would never lie to you. Not even after your beloved team took a giant dump in their pants in the biggest game that you've ever watched them play. Man, that was so painful. That was so painful. You know, as far as Campbell goes, yeah, I know. This is what got them there. Except for one thing. What got them here did not get them there. So to me, either he adjusts his approach or you live with the results. And that approach absolutely did impact the outcome of their most important game ever. And the fact is, they may never get back. Do not assume we're on our way. It's part of the process. You get your heart ripped out and you learn. Or you get your heart ripped out and you never get there ever again. And if it's going to be twice as hard to get there, then I'll see you in 120 years. Man, that hurt. That really hurt. And credit to the Niners for coming back, not panicking, making their plays, capitalizing on the momentum. And yeah, they had some help. They definitely had some help. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And hit the bell to be the first to know when we do upload a new video.